everybody. Robin here. Welcome back to Toadstool Tarot. We've got, if you're in America, we've got Thanksgiving coming up this week. So I thought I would try to talk to you a little bit about being thankful for tarot. And the tarot system that we've been given is a wonderful thing to be thankful for. I'm going to show you some cards in a little bit. I found a deck that I'd been looking for on eBay, and it's out of print, and I am thankful for that. You may have had a similar experience where you've been looking for a deck for a long time and it just sort of crops up. You're able to get hold of a copy and you're thankful for it. So that may be something to be thankful for this Thanksgiving if you've found that unicorn deck that you weren't able to have before now. Hello, Heather and Donna. Welcome. Also, I think every once in a while, aside from just using the tarot, we need to pause and consider the tarot and think about different things about it, different qualities. And I had I don't know exactly if you go as far to call it an epiphany, but I had a thought the other day about the four elements of tarot, that the swords and cups are for processing thoughts and feelings. The wands are to move us forward. And the pentacles are to measure our progress. That's something to think about, huh? As human beings, we're led by our hearts and minds, the cups and swords. We make grandiose plans and attempt to achieve them, the wands. And we measure our progress along the way, monetarily, other sort of material achievements, the pentacles. So isn't that interesting? Something to think about. Anyway. So I'm going to show you this deck and see what you think. I don't know when this deck was first published, but actually, if any of you are familiar with Robert Farah on Tea and Tarot channel, he reviewed it a few weeks back, I think, or maybe a month or two ago. And it's a deck that he quite likes and prefers to the Rider-Waite Smith imagery. And it has been recently re-released on drive-by cards. However, he had issue with that, and I do too, because they reformatted the framework of the cards so they would fit on tarot size or tarot format cards. And the original ones are a little bit wider and a little blockier and have a thicker border, but the original ones have a much nicer feel, I think. And this is called the Ator Tarot. Ator Tarot. You guys know this one? I think the person that made it is Robin Ator, I believe. And I think he also did, I can't remember the name of it. It was another deck I used to have that I passed on because I didn't use it very often. It was one using sort of the generic signs or symbols that indicate people on, road signs and airport signs and things. Universal, um, universal graphic symbols or something like that. I don't know. You might know it, but anyway. So yeah, this is the Ator Tarot. It's a little bit cartoony, but that's kind of the fun part of it. Not super excited about the backs. It's got the 4 symbols and then this text pattern repeated. It's okay, but the cards are really fun. So anyway, it starts with this extra card, as above, so below, which is nice, I guess. It's a little bonus card, which I guess you can use or not use. And here we go. These have nice bright colors, like the tarot. Like the RWS. It's sort of more like the Frankie Albano tarot a little bit. The Fool. And we have these sort of cartoon figures that are really approachable, I think. And the eyes, one of the eyes is usually floating off into the air, which is kind of fun. So I am thankful, grateful, thankful for having been able to find this deck. And as I said, the cards are a little, I'm trying to think if I can find my sample card to show you. Oh goodness, where did it go? Oh, there. Show you the size. They're a little shorter than the average tarot card, but a little bit wider. So you get a sense there. So the Empress. The Emperor. They're humorous, I mean, almost remind me of The Simpsons, maybe, or something, a little bit. Cartoony, kind of. Not falling down laughing humorous, but yeah, and when they reformatted the cards, they made them tarot size, and they took the labels out of the image and put them across the bottom. And you can check it out online. You can look at Drive-By Cards and look at their version, and then go over to eBay and see if you can find one of these available. And in this version, the original one. Here we have the Lovers. Muppets, Donna says, They remind Heather of the Cheeky Tarot by Danilo. I don't know that one. The Chariot. But if you know the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, and most of the people that watch my channel will, you can see that all these are very familiar. They're the same images that Pamela Coleman Smith designed. They just have a sort of a more approachable, maybe humorous, more contemporary take. I actually kind of like the font too. They're very friendly, amusing little cards. Nothing too deep or too serious. I don't have anything particularly heavy to get into today with you guys, other than thinking about Thanksgiving. If you have plans, a lot of people have difficulty with the families around Thanksgiving, and we can be grateful, I think, for families if we have them at in whatever state, but also maybe take your deck with you to your family Thanksgiving. I'm doing that. I've been invited this year, and actually I've been welcomed to a friend's place where they actually want to encourage me to read the tarot for them. And I think it will be a fun community event because I usually draw people into my readings and ask them the kinds of things that they see in the cards. And so it's kind of like a participatory game. But if your family doesn't approve of tarot, maybe you don't do the readings, but you just excuse yourself off to the restroom with your deck and read for yourself in there to help get you through the troublesome afternoon. Donna says, this deck looks like it would pair well with your decks, Robin. Yeah, that could be. Yeah, mine have a sort of a hint at humor, I suppose. A lot of people might look at this deck and think, oh, that'd be a good deck for kids or beginners. But, don't need to limit it there. Heather says, my family is a scary hot mess, staying clear of them. Donna says, I'm staying in Europe for Thanksgiving, so it's a non-issue, but I do like to make ourselves a dinner with all the fixins. So I haven't celebrated Thanksgiving in a long time. I'm really not a big turkey fan or traditional, the traditional dishes. The last few years, what I've been doing, I often will go to a movie matinee that day because the theaters are pretty empty. And then I go over to the East Village to have dinner at this Ukrainian place called Veselka. And they have really good stuffed cabbage. And I'm a big fan of stuffed cabbage. So that's kind of my Thanksgiving feast. But this year, one of the gals in my creative writing group invited me to her place. And she's an Italian woman, so I thought, well, maybe we're going to have lasagna or something like that this year. But she's doing a traditional turkey dinner with, all the stereotypical side dishes, and that might be really nice, kind of looking forward to that. So I ordered some holiday cookies I'm bringing, and seltzer. I always need seltzer. And I think I'm going to take some cranberry juice too. I don't know if she's having cranberry sauce, but might make myself a cranberry spritzer with the seltzer and the cranberry juice as a beverage for the meal. This is my significator card, by the way. Some of you know that. Donna says there's a good Ukrainian restaurant close to where she's going next week. Steamed cabbage with butter. And actually tonight, I'm going to an event. There's a back in the 70s, I was in a band, and there was a fanzine that came out called Beat It. And the guy that wrote it and the gal who took the photographs for the fanzine are doing a book release party over on St. Mark's Place tonight. So I'm kind of excited to go to that. They're going to be interviewed and have a discussion about that particular scene in the 70s. And yeah, I'm curious to see what they have to say. Should I say they're going to be interviewed and do a presentation? And I'm anxious to get hold of a copy of the book because I think there's a couple of pictures of me in it from that time. Unfortunately, turkey is expensive in the Netherlands. It's not too bad in France, but that's not where I'll be. Donna, are you a big turkey fan? See, I find turkey to be a little on the dry side, and I don't really see the charm of it. Actually, I'm more of a stuffing man myself. I like the stuffing more than the turkey. And when it comes to birds, I think I prefer chicken over turkey. I like the flavor better, and it feels a little juicier, and yeah. But I'm really not much of a meat eater. Not a vegetarian, but I think I could do pretty well without meat if I had to. Oh, Heather did drums in her youth when I was in a band and sang, but it never worked out. Donna loves turkey, especially stuffing. Her husband's a great cook, and he manages to cook all the poultry without drying it out. Now, there's going to be a small group of us at this Thanksgiving, and only one other guy. And one of the guys traditionally carves the turkey, and I hope they don't pick me because I wouldn't have a clue as how to do it. And she was gonna do two seatings. Typically of Thanksgiving issues, she was going to do an early afternoon seating with her friends here in New York, and then extended family was going to show up late in the day and do a second seating. But luckily for her, the family are bickering and they all canceled. So there won't be a second seating. So it will be a lovely dinner party with just 5 of us sitting around chatting and talking about things, trying to steer the commentary away from the election and onto tarot, perhaps, or other things. But, 2 of these people are kind of my latest version of my New York family. So it will be kind of like spending Thanksgiving with family. And I'm thankful for them, and I'm thankful for my my writing group that they take part in. It sort of punctuates my week, and it's both a social activity and a creative one. And yeah, it's something much needed, I think, for seniors that have a lot of alone time and downtime to sort of practice being social and play with writing. Play is really important, I think, in creative writing, as it is in tarot. Let's see. Heather wanted a band, but life happened as it usually does. Nice that you can take your time. Best to stay away from politics if possible, even if you all agree. It's just a depressing subject. Yeah, I think so. Will you and your male friend be spending more time together? Oh, Heather, aren't you nosy? Yeah, actually, we had a date last night at our second in person date. I'm seeing somebody now. You know, it's never too late. I'm 72. I just met somebody, and it was somebody that I knew of in another band back in the 70s, but we had never met each other until recently at a social event. And so now we're seeing each other and finding out a lot about one another. And actually, he's in this book too tonight, the book party. So we're going together to that. Wasn't going to mention him, but you know, Heather pulled me out of the closet there and put me in the foreground. Donna was just going to ask how things went with your date, if you're comfortable sharing. Yeah, it's going really good. We're both discovering each other and also trying to figure out what we have in common and what we don't. And in most cases at the moment, we seem to have almost everything in common. And also we're approaching what we're sort of calling a relationship, maybe a bit prematurely, to see what we want it to be or what it might be, and kind of working on that. Now, I started off a little bit anxious, you know, because we had met, and then there was a few days waiting time before we actually had a couple of Zoom calls, and then like a week later before we actually met face to face. And I was, you know, we're both retired, but I had too much time on my hands, and I was full of anxiousness and excitement and impatience, and feeling like I wanted to see him and see him more frequently than just a couple of Zoom calls. So we talked about that a little bit last night, and he's going to try to be a little bit more accommodating as far as that goes. And I said, you know, even if we can't meet at least once a week in person, then I'm hoping, you know, at least every day or every other day we can either text or have a Zoom call. So that will help, I think. And also, I think my anxiousness has to do with this being new. At my age, having it be new in a relationship, and getting to know things, wanting to know things. So as I get to know him better, I think I'll get more relaxed and feel more assured. And yeah. Heather thinks it's adorable. She's sorry. She just knows how happy and excited I was last weekend. Donna thinks I'm brave. She doesn't know if she would get up the nerve if it was her. Well, it was a little tricky how I went about it. I felt encouragement because I met him at this men's group. It was a discussion group. And oh, hello, Eric. And I was signing the sign-in sheet, and he was sort of collecting the dues and checking over the info on the sign-in sheet. And when my signature was on there and he read it, he sort of perked up. And then he announced to the group that he had actually mentioned me a couple days earlier. but we'd never met. But he knew my band. It was the day after election, a few days earlier. Of course, everybody was down and depressed. And he said, where's Robin when we need him? And I didn't understand the context of that until later. I thought, well, it has to do with the election, probably, because my band's name was Dark Day. And it couldn't have been a darker day for some than the results of the election. So, yeah. Anyway, I was I felt encouraged by the fact that he kind of perked up or brightened up when he recognized me. And I got his information, and then I came home and because I kind of wanted to catch up on old stories from that era, which probably will come up at this group tonight, this book signing party. And so I wanted to have a chat with him. So I got his number, and I thought, well, rather than call him, I'll send him an email. So in the email, it's a lot easier in text and email to say what you feel, but also I was encouraged by the fact that he thought of me and mentioned my name, and it felt like there was some interest there. So I emailed and said that, I was interested in him beyond just chatting, and he wrote back and felt similarly. So that was kind of an easy way in. I don't think I would have had the courage right up front to face him and say it out loud, but it's much easier in an email to face potential rejection or a text. And as it happens, that didn't happen. So it all worked out. When somebody in one of the chats asked me his sign, and I don't follow in detail signs, but zodiac astrology, but I'm a Virgo, and it turns out he's a Pisces. And I don't know very much about that combination, so I looked it up online, and apparently they're opposite one another on the zodiac, and they're a good fit. So last night, actually, we had a little bit of fun looking at a website and all the characteristics of both signs and whether they rang true for each of us or not, and how compatible they were. And almost all of them were true. There were a couple that weren't. And so, yeah, that was kind of a fun little game to look at. This is supposed to be true of Virgo. Is it? Well, yeah, I think it is. This is true of Pisces. Well, no, not really. And so, yeah, that was a fun conversation. You liking these cards? The coloring, I like the coloring. Let's see. Gives a jumping off point for conversation. Yeah. Loving how people can be vulnerable and be themselves. Oh, hi, Tom. Missed you. Heather's Sean. I don't know if that's her husband or who the relation is a Pisces. Heather, what sign are you? Are you a Virgo too? Is that Donna? I'm Leo. My husband's Sagittarius. I don't think we're supposed to be a great match, but we are anyway. So for anybody that came in late, this is the Ator Tarot. It's out of print, but can be found on eBay. Now, this came shrink wrapped, but didn't have a box or a book or anything. And I wondered if there was something fishy about that. But I think this is an independently produced deck, and the guy swore up and down that he found a few vintage sealed out of print copies, and this is not a repro or anything, that it came this way. I thought it was a little bit odd that a deck wouldn't come in a box of some sort, but I'm just kind of enjoying the cards for what they are. And Eric's a Virgo as well. Oh, Sean's her significant other. She's Sagittarius. Okay. Yeah, I don't know the other signs beyond the main one. And the King of Pentacles. So that's the Ator Tarot. And yeah, I might do some readings with it now. If anybody wants a reading, let me put a little banner in here for you. Yeah, if anybody wants a reading, put your question in there in the comments. I mean, in the chat, and we'll see what the Ator Tarot has to say if I can get it shuffled enough. So yeah, I'm thankful this week that I found this deck. I'm also thankful for the tarot in general, and I'm going to repeat for people that came in late that I had a little epiphany this week considering the 4 elements of Swords and Cups for processing thoughts and feelings, Wands for supplying the passion to move us forward and creativity to move us forward, and Pentacles to measure our progress. So that's kind of an interesting way to encapsulate the human experience. Yeah. Whoever invented the tarot, we still don't know for sure. They really had something there. It's a great tool to use. I've also been participating in these counseling sessions or these counseling groups discussions. And I've been kind of, I wouldn't say pushing the tarot on people, but I've been sharing with them how much of a counselor, therapist, advisor tarot is or has been for me. And that it's been really helpful as I'm getting deeper going deeper into this new relationship. It's nice to have support through both this counseling community and also through the tarot cards. My mind races along and overthinks things, and it's good to have the tarot to kind of slow me down, help measure my progress, but like pace me too. I had this other epiphany the other day about the way I've been so anxious lately, and I thought I need to learn pacing, not pacing. What I mean by that is there's 2 meanings to the word pacing. I tend to be so anxious I'm pacing the floor back and forth in anxiety, but I need to learn how to pace myself. In other words, slow down and take a deep breath, take measured steps. So, it's kind of a fun little meme, I think, pacing, not pacing. Oh, it looks like Heather and Tom have some plans today. Tarot is a great introspection tool. Yep. It's funny too in the men's community group, there were guys in their 40s and sort of, starting relationships and sort of amazed that they, found one at 42 and they thought, oh, it'll never happen. And I said, I can beat that. I'm 72 and it just happened to me. So never lose hope. So have I got anybody want a question answered? I live daily with anxiety and depression, Robin. I get it. It can be challenging some days. Actually, Heather, I don't usually live with that. I think both he and I are happy old hermits, or maybe I should say contented old hermits. We're very comfortable living alone and living solitary solo lives. We've adjusted to that for many years. Donna has a question. I'll have to scroll back and look for it. This is kind of new to us. And I think maybe because it's been so long in coming, then I didn't know if it ever would, that when it finally did come about, I was very anxious to sort of catch up on lost time, getting to know him. And that's what's making me anxious. All the unknowns, and it's like something new and exciting when I wasn't really expecting anything to come down the pike. So I think that will ease up as I get to know him more and feel less anxious. But, at the start of things, any new plan or project you have, you might feel anxious about. And let me see if I can find Donna's question. Oh, okay. How will my trip to the Netherlands go in general? I thought you lived in the Netherlands. Am I confusing you with somebody? Or aren't you there now? Or maybe you are there now and you want to know how it's going to continue to go. We'll see. All right. I don't feel these are fully shuffled. I'm an overhand shuffler, and I don't do well with riffle shuffling, which I could try to do, but also since this is an out-of-print deck, I tend to be very, very polite to my cards, very conscious of my cards. I don't want to risk bending them or abusing them, treating them roughly. I always feel like riffle shuffling feels like treating your cards a little harshly. I like a little more gentle overhand shuffle, but it takes a lot longer to get them mixed in when you do that. Butterflies in the stomach, giddy with excitement. Yeah. Mostly in France, but will regularly need to go to Holland. Okay. Oh, I'm going to star another question here from Eric. Okay. All right, Donna. How will my trip to the Netherlands go in general? Uh-oh. Well, this is general. This doesn't look so good, Donna, on the surface, but I think, well, again, it also looks like I didn't shuffle very well. The first card I got was the Nine of Swords, which is troublesome. But, I think and then the second one I got is the Eight of Swords, to talk about not shuffling very well. And then the Seven of Swords. Do you think I should shuffle again? If we roll with this, I'd say the overall message of this particular reading is your trip is it's what you make it. So if you're worried about it, think about the things that worry you and try to overcome the worry and the anxiety. If you're feeling trapped by those thoughts, try to find some way to free yourself from those thoughts. And the Seven of Swords, take with you what you can and leave the rest behind. So maybe, like I said, at first glance, this looks like a really negative spread, but it seems to me like these swords are kind of challenges, and you will find some challenges in your trip to the Netherlands. But try to turn your umbrella upside down and find ways to turn those challenges into celebrations. Donna says, that could definitely be me. I get anxious anytime I have to get out of my routine. There's nothing particularly worrying that I'm expecting, though. Yeah, I don't know, Donna. Take your tarot cards with you when you go and try to find ways to turn challenges into positive outcomes. You know, use that reading as a guidance. Hey, Beth, how are you? Yeah. So I'm sorry about that. Like I said, I think part of it had to do with the shuffling. I didn't shuffle it long enough from being in order, but it still kind of gave us something to chew on there. You know, turning our downfalls, or I don't even want to say downfalls. Like you said, you're not comfortable with change. So maybe it's just like trying to find comfort in change, or look at it as an exciting possibility as opposed to a challenge. Maybe journal a bit too. Take notes about how you're feeling. And like I said, free yourself from the shackles of confinement to woes and worries, and find some clever ways maybe to take what you need, take the power away from the challenges, and find a way to convert difficulties into possibilities. All right, let's see what Eric wanted to know. Is the tarot an expression of an alchemical trip? I'm not even sure I know what that means. But let's see what the cards say. Alchemical trip. I don't know. Are you saying whoever invented the tarot that they were tripping? And they were on hallucinogens and they invented the tarot, and it's a way of them expressing that? I'm not sure what you're trying to get at here. So I'm just going to see what the cards seem to hint at or indicate. Donna says, we have a few appointments, but we want to schedule some fun time also. We also agreed to babysit our grandniece one evening, which is not exactly in my wheelhouse. I think you're going to have a great time, Donna. I think you're going to have fun. Maybe you will learn a little bit to get out of your routine and experience some joy in change and challenges. Okay, Eric says, I mean the transmutation of matter into perfection. That's still a little oblique thinking to my mind, Eric. I was not sure I'm quite getting it, but we'll see. Maybe you'll get something I'm not getting from these cards. Okay, cards, I hope you understand this better than I do. First card's the Sun, the happy card, the enlightenment card. I often look at this as an enlightenment card. So, expression of an alchemical trip. And what did you say? Transmutation of matter into perfection. Couldn't be a better card for that than the Sun card, I don't think. Talk about transmutation of situations into happy outcomes. That's the Sun card as far as I'm concerned. Death. This is kind of mirroring your question a little bit, Eric. Death is change, transformation. So that's our first card, actually. I always work from the center out. So I had center card, Sun, first card, death, and then we'll see the third card in a moment. So we go from death to the Sun. That's transmuting. That's very alchemical, transmuting one thing into another, transmuting a situation into positive outcome or illumination. Third card, the Nine of Swords again, which is usually worries. But I don't know, maybe this is not worries so much as processing your thoughts about the concepts of transmutation. And we never quite know how they're going to be, how these things that we run across are going to be transmuted, whether they'll change for the good or change for the bad or change to something that we, is neither good or bad, but something we haven't dealt with, something we might have worries or anxiety over processing just because it's a new experience for us. Yeah, I'd say, this is mostly positive. It's kind of like taking something that needs to be transformed into something enlightening. Perhaps that process or that change is something a little bit overwhelming to the extent that it's a lot for the mind to take in, to process, and that can feel troublesome or worrisome. Yeah. Did I shuffle these cards well enough? I got the same card as before, different order this time, the Eight of Swords. So this is a fourth card. I don't usually pull four cards, but the fourth card is feeling sort of trapped. And this might be trapped in our concepts of transformation or alchemy. It might be confronting disbelief in the tarot. Like, can it really do these things that everybody praises it to do, to be able to do? They're just images on cards. So the doing is in our interpretation of the images. Maybe it expresses a tough path towards the success. Very alchemical indeed. Interesting. Now I want to only ask Robin profoundly philosophical questions. Go for it, Tom. If anybody else has a question, it's 5 minutes till end time here. And then I'm off to do something else. I actually have been enjoying doing 1 hour lives. It feels like the right amount of time for me. I don't have a huge audience, and it seems to be the right amount of time for me to share things I want to share and get in a few readings. Not enough to overtax me, but or my audience. But yeah, Tom, you got a question? Pop it in there. This is a fun little deck, he said. Actually, it's funny. This deck feels to me to have a similar humor quality to the one you use. I can't remember the name of it now. The one in a tin. You know the one I'm talking about. I think it's got spoons in it or something, maybe instead of swords, or what's that called? Tom uses, I don't watch his channel a lot, but he uses this comical deck. It has comic-like characters in it. Comes in a tin, and it's a fun deck. Tom, that's Thomas's channel. Oh, I've got the wrong Tom. I'm sorry. I apologize. See, I'm not really good at remembering names to begin with when it comes to like, what does the tarot say about the connection between creating art and alchemy? Okay, we'll work on that. I'm going to have to go back and check Early Rituals channel. Sometimes I get confused remembering names, and I don't expect anyone to remember my name from my channel, and I'm perfectly happy for them to refer to me as Toadstool or even Toad. So I don't have that deck, but I know which one you're talking about. Yeah, I don't know if anybody else in chat knows the one I mean, but anyway, it's a moot point now because I got the wrong Tom. But it does, whatever that deck is called, it is kind of similar to this deck. So let's see, what's Heather say here? What does the tarot say about the connection between creating art and alchemy? Okay. They feel like the same thing to me, Heather. Beth says, see, I can remember Beth somehow. Aspasia Rising. Maybe I'm crazy, but Toad is an awesome nickname, I think. Yeah, I'm okay with it. It's, I came up with my channel name by accident because I was looking for channel names and I had a few in mind. And Simon advised me not to use my own name, but to come up with something. He goes, create a free email account with the name, and then use that. Don't confuse or combine your name with your channel name, because you'll get all kinds of troubles and complications from people contacting you. And so anyway, I started plopping in potential names, and they were all taken on Gmail. And then I looked around, and I had written a book of sort of therapeutically written fairy tales some years ago. And on the cover, there was an image of two elves. One had fallen on his ass. The other was sitting atop a toadstool looking down at the fallen guy. And somehow Toadstool popped into my head, and Toadstool Tarot. And not very seriously, I just typed it in thinking that'll be rejected too. But when you know it wasn't, it held. I thought, oh crap, now I'm stuck with this one. But actually, it's not bad. I like it. I think it's unusual. Some other people seem to like it. I like that my reading ended with the Seven of Swords. Beth, to me, that suggests I will find a strategy that gets me out of my head if things are bothering me. Yeah. All right. I'm sure I still have shuffling issues here, but what does the tarot say about the connection between creating art and alchemy? Well, I don't know about this, Heather. First card's the Emperor, which the Emperor is very established, firmly grounded, set in his ways, thinks he knows it all. So maybe it's has to do with determination in one's knowledge and how that best can be used, or thinking they know how it can be used. Creating art and alchemy. It's not, I would say alchemy perhaps is more of a recipe following kind of thing, and art is more of an intuitive thing. So I'm not really sure about the connection there, and I'm not getting anything particularly intuitively insightful from the Emperor. Second card is the Page of Swords. Well, we've got a little positive spin here because pages are at the bottom of the hierarchy in the courts, and so they're kind of like beginners, and beginners often need to get a little bit creative with their tools to make the best use of challenges in life. And the swords, as we all know, are, thoughts and speech, communication, thinking and speaking. So that could apply both to an alchemist and an artist. And maybe there's a bit of a combination of both there, like picking up information, learning it, and sort of refining it until the thoughts and the communication feel right. And the third card is the Hermit. That feels like it relates to both an alchemist and an artist. They tend to work alone, They go within, they take what they've gathered, they go off alone, they investigate like a hermit what is creative to them, what to combine or recombine into their alchemical experiments, investigations, recipes. So, I don't know, there you go. Now, since the Emperor is the center card, it may be suggesting the possibility of getting out of routine thinking, experimenting a little more, opening up a little more. I always look at the Emperor as the stubborn card. So if you have certain attachments to routine or things, even as I think you're working on an oracle deck, if you have certain associations, when you see certain images, maybe take a little bit longer to work with the intuition and not be so firm in your association with a particular image. Open it up and expand it a little bit, maybe. I was told I was an alchemist in a past life. Well, in some ways, this creation of the deck that you're working on, this oracle deck, that's a little bit like alchemy. It's a bit of alchemy. Plus, Robin is a sun sign, Earth, Virgo. What can be more Earth than a toadstool? Oh, sorry. Maybe an earthworm. All right. I don't know if that did anything. Oh, the Tarot Complete Hieroglyph of the Great Work contained the 21 operations or stages, Fulcanelli, the dwellings of the philosophers. Eric, I haven't a clue what you're talking about, but it sounds really interesting, and I may actually go and do a little research. Alchemy was an attempt to understand how the universe worked. Art and creativity does the same from an internal perspective. That's interesting, Donna. Yes, you gave me a wonderful reading last week about my deck, Heather. Well, you're welcome, and thank you guys for spending time with me today. It's 1:05, exactly an hour now since I entered the room and invited you all in. Pardon me. Have a great week. And if you celebrate Thanksgiving, transform it into something great, even if it tends not to be great. Find something to be thankful about. Enjoy. And I hope to see you all again next Saturday for an hour. Bye.